Well, good evening, everyone, and thanks for being here. Really appreciate you all joining us this evening. It's going to be a great show. The title for us tonight is going to be Do You Curse or Bless? Which is very interesting. And that's with any given situation and every given situation. Are you cursing it or blessing it? And what I'd like to add for the evening is how are you cursing or blessing the situation? Is it from a place of self serving where you're wanting to please your own ego mind, or is it from a place of service to the universe, to everyone else, to ourselves included, right? Sometimes, in fact, every time we have to take care of ourselves first before we can care for other people. So often, it can be tricky to remember that acts of self love are really ultimately acts of love for the all, because we're part of the all. So, um, yeah, without too much further ado, just a quick announcement here for anyone who's joining us on the first time, which, by the way, tonight we're streaming on Kick for the first time. Hopefully that'll all increase the audience and do more to help us reach more people and help more people here. So that's a great thing. But for anyone who's joining us for the first time, it's a free reading. And from that point forward, then it's $10 per reading. Or you can do $100 for the month and get one reading for every single show we do. Or $50 for the month, and that'll get you one reading per week. Now, without anything else, just want to remind you all that you're watching Seeing in the Unseen. My name's Kenan Laprath, and I'm going to turn it over to your host, Christopher Laprath. Thanks again, and enjoy the show.
What a great introduction. Thank you so much, Kenan. To curse or to bless. So let me lay a little bit of a foundation here. We've talked about this on the show before. When you take a breath, you breathe in 10 to the 22nd power of atoms. And when you breathe out, you breathe out 10 to the 22nd power of atoms. That's the number 10 followed by 22 zeros. It's a vast, inexplicable, unexplainable, unimaginable number. It's a lot of atoms with every breath that we intake and every breath that we outtake, which means it's a million atoms from your Aunt Gussie. It's a million atoms from Cleopatra. It's a million atoms from a bunny that died in Siberia 1,000 years ago. It's a million atoms with every breath you take from everything and everyone that is living or has ever lived. Everything and everyone that is living or has ever lived. So this is physics. It's that we're all connected. So, highly encourage you to pay attention to cursing or blessing. If you're cursing the guy that just cut you off, maybe he was on the way to the hospital, maybe he lost someone, or maybe he was about to lose someone, and you curse them because you actually don't know the situation, that gentleman has been breathing your atoms with every breath for however long you've been living. Millions upon millions upon millions of billions of atoms with every breath over a period of years. So when you curse, you're really cursing yourself. But when you bless, you are blessing yourself. And not just with words, but with our thoughts. And are we constantly blessing ourselves? And are you willing to get into the habit of simply blessing yourself instead of in any way, shape, or form cursing yourself or putting yourself down or allowing others to put yourself down? Okay. Because if someone has, I'll put someone, if someone has this constant chipmunk wheel that they're on where they're cursing themselves, they're going to start drawing allies to themselves that will support the cursing. So they're going to perhaps attract people that will curse them in some way, shape, or form. But we always start the show with lighting the incense. Welcome, everyone. This is to help you clear any cursing and to have great blessings, to only bless yourself. The reason this is important and why I wanted to bring this up is because I just got done with a reading. And what came up during the reading is this gentleman had said that he had this feeling of dread. And I said, well, about when did you start having this feeling of dread? And he goes, well, around November of last year. I said, okay, what dishes did you receive from someone else? And I believe it was one of perhaps some dishes from your partner that was passed down through the family. And he's like, yeah. Around October, November, we unwrapped these dishes that had been in storage for 17 years. I'm going to pause with that story. I'm going to jump to about a few years ago where this gentleman had 6 or 7 different kinds of cancer. Lung cancer, prostate cancer. And finally they just called me and they said, what is causing this? I said, your furniture. And they're like, no. I think they would have rather had me say, oh, it's that shrunken head that was passed down to you from your Uncle Fred, who was an explorer in Africa. That would have been easier for them to understand. But come to find out, their furniture, the husband's furniture, had been in the family since the 17th century. They had furniture in their house that was 400 or 500 years old. And they were keeping it because they were valuable, they were antiques. Everything, as we know, is energy. Nothing is actually ever solid. And so objects can become haunted or they can become cursed. There's a museum in Virginia that holds a chest of drawers that has killed 18 people over the past couple of 100 years, whoever owned the chest of drawers. And what happened is a slave owner commissioned a slave to build a chest of drawers for his new son. And it wasn't built to his specifications, so he beat the slave to death. The other slaves then put a curse on the chest of drawers with owl blood. I don't know. And that chest of drawers, you can actually Google this, but that chest of drawers was cursed. And it's the vibration. It's the frequency that's put into it. Okay? Then there are objects that are haunted. So when people die, when they haven't evolved, they haven't progressed, they can become attached to objects. So this couple did not want to get rid of their furniture. The other couple that I was reading for immediately took those dishes and immediately put them outside. My point is that objects that are cursed can be around a situation, even a very volatile conversation, and absorb that energy. That's why I don't buy things from an antique shop. I don't buy things from Goodwill. I just simply buy them new. And I'm not saying that new things can't be cursed as well, but you can feel them. You can get used to the feeling of them. Okay? So that's what I wanted to talk to you about, because as Kenan said at the very beginning, the opposite is true. That blessing, when you bless someone, when you bless yourself, you're blessing every atom in your body. And when you breathe out that million atoms from everything and everyone, that million atoms, those atoms, 10 to the 22nd power, are going out into the universe, out into the world as blessed particles. Okay? So please bless yourself. Bless others. It comes back to you in ways that you cannot even imagine. And that leads us to our group card for tonight. Okay? What's that?
Do you want to just adjust it a little bit?
Okay. There you go. Thank you, Kenan. The group card. It's the star gathering. There's something within each of us when we look at the stars in the sky, when we look at the night and the amazing vision that is before us. There's something wondrous about that. There is a knowing. There is a stirring within us. There is a remembering that we are part of that. That we were once stardust. We were once this cosmic dust that's still active, that's still alive in us. And so this is about something that is beyond our understanding. And are you willing to let go of the need to understand it and just simply allow it? About wondering and being in the wonder of always, every day, every minute, the wonder of really who and what you are, being wondrous without the need to try to always figure it out or define it. This card is about the energy of being home. Home within you, and knowing all the parts that exist within you, that are of the universe. This is your home. This is your body right now. You bequeathed to be here on this earth at this time. So lose trying to go somewhere else, or lose trying to study the esoterics to go there. You can understand the esoterics, that's important. But right now, we're here to be here, who we are, what we are. That's what this card is about. And what this card is about is, from now on, from this reading forward for the group, you are magnetic. You are attracting people, energies, and opportunities that will allow your dreams and who you actually are to truly unfold. So it's about creating the opportunities, them just showing up, and then reaping the rewards. I took some notes, so I'm just sharing my notes with you. That it isn't time right now to spend dwelling on transcending this reality. No, it's making the most of this reality while we're here, because it's what we commissioned to do. It's who we commissioned to be at this time on this earth, who we are. The lessons we've gone through are like no other lessons that anyone else has really ever been through, and our learnings are our own. And so there are no mistakes, there are simply learnings. And so can you bless those learnings? not curse them, bless them. Okay? Make the most of this powerful opportunity while we're here. That's what this card is about. And this is about you finding your star family, those people who you really vibrate with, those things that you really vibrate with, that really lighten you up, that make you the star that you are. Okay? And it's this power that you came to the earth. It was there before you incarnated here on this planet. And it will continue to be so. So feed that. That's the power of the blessing. Okay? Thank you. Who's next? Who's first?
Yeah, first is John.
John, we're going to see you tomorrow. Thursday, right? Yeah. All right, here we go. This is putting a feather in your cap, John. And birds are very symbolic of this connection to spirit because they can be on land and they can be in the air. And this is acknowledging your powers without putting a label on it as woo-woo. There is no such thing as woo-woo. That's a judgment. And that can be termed as something that is cursed or negative, okay? So bless yourself, bless your gifts, allow them to emerge. And that it's safe and okay for those gifts to really emerge, because this is called the Sorcerer card. You have connections with different planets. You have connections with different different abilities that are yet to be discovered here on this earth or yet to be cultivated here on this earth. You're a major part of that. And so I bless you for being the first one on the show and for this card to come up, because that's what's happening with every one of us on the show. There are people that are really good at math. There are people that are really good at English. There are people really good at languages. They're more adept. You may not be psychic like me, but you don't have to be. You could be a mathematician. You could be something that is truly remarkable and truly gifted, that's bringing these new gifts to help consciousness grow and evolve and expand, and the human race to evolve. Okay. Who's next?
Nice. Next is Lindsay.
Hey, Lindsay. Oh, Lindsay, this is so you. You are the wild woman, free of judgment, free of what other people think, free of what other people project. This is dancing. Put some music on, Lindsay. Dance. Dance with your girls. Dance. Move the energy. Move the energy. Is a wild woman any less important than a really sophisticated woman that, drinks the tea with her little finger up in the air? No. This is embracing your femininity. This is embracing your creativity. You are an incredibly creative person. And thank you again for being early on the show, because I'm going to bless everybody with this, that each one of you is incredibly creative. In any way, shape, or form, are you willing to be free of cursing yourself that you're not? Because you are. Your art is important. How you think is important. I watched a video the other day of these two lanes of traffic that were exiting the freeway. And the left lane was completely backed up for like 2 miles. And the car that had the camera just went into the other lane and went all the way up to the stoplight. None of the other cars realized that that whole right lane went to the same destination. They just stayed, as they called them, sheeple. They just stayed in line. You're not here to stay in line. You are here to break the rules, to color outside the lines, and to broaden, help widen, extend people's view of reality by drawing outside the lines. Okay, and hey, Laurel. So, Monday night you had transmutation. You don't have to do anything to move the transmutation process along. This is the tree of life. It's balanced. Root system, trunk system, leaf system. Okay? So this is the body, the mind, the spirit. You're the whole package, girl. People think that they have to do something. All that is important is to allow it. Just allow it in. Allow these gifts to manifest, to come in, free of judgment. There's something here with planting a tree. You're getting an acknowledgement of seeds that you have planted. It's kind of like Johnny Appleseed, you know, that story where he went throughout the West just throwing apple seeds everywhere to grow apple trees without ever living to see the apple trees grow. There is some profundity, some really profound revelations where you're going to start seeing the impact that you've had on people's lives, on trees that you have planted, and understanding that without you having been here on earth, earth would not be the way it is today. There are these blessings that you bring to people for being just who you are. Remember that. And start using your bibbidi bobbidi boo, the fairy godmother. I don't know if you watched Cinderella when you were a kid, or if you longed for this fairy godmother. You actually have one. Probably have a couple. Just become, do a vision board. Focus on your heart's desire and what that is. Okay? Who's next?
Next it's Abby and Marilyn.
Hey, Abby. Hey, Marilyn. Happy Wednesday. Hump day. Okay. So Moses was given this staff, Marilyn. And it's the power that's been given you if people are walking with a staff, a lot of people automatically think, oh, they're having trouble walking. This is your staff. It's your staff of power. Oh, you have a staff. Okay. We all have a staff. So if you think think of it as an owner of a company, and you have people working under you that is your staff, that kind of staff. And if you just came into your office and never gave the staff any direction, your company would not grow, nothing would get done, the company would fold. Your staff, our staff, every one of you, we all have a staff waiting for our directions to be given to them. Ancestors, angels, guides, beings from other worlds that are all around you. Tell them in no uncertain terms what it is you want, and this is blessing them. If you go to someone's house, Marilyn, and you want to help somebody, it's really awkward if you don't know what to do or they don't tell you what they need. And it just kind of feels like a waste of time. Put these guides to work and be very specific as to what you want them to do or accomplish, and say what it is you want to accomplish. Tell them what you want them to accomplish, and say this or something even better. Be open to the better. Okay, be open to the more. And being less self-sufficient and being more open to help, to letting these guides in. And if somebody comes to, in the physical form, friend comes to offer their help, give them something to do, because you've heard that saying, there's more happiness in giving than in receiving. When you give somebody something to do, they feel like they're giving back to them, or they feel they're giving back to you, which then gives them happiness. So think about when you give someone something to do, you're giving them happiness because it offers them the opportunity to give to you, because there's more happiness in giving. Okay. But also be open to receiving. All right. Abby, Bo Babby, Fee Fi Fo Fabby, Abby. All right. The moon is very symbolic of psychic ability. But there are phases. Just like you sleep at night and you wake up in the morning, sometimes it's about learning to turn on the abilities, but also learning to turn them off. And then be free of judgment about turning them off. Or trying to define what your psychic abilities are. And leave it open. Leave it open to how they manifest. And then when something unusual happens, pay attention to that. Okay. By the way, I want to thank the Fleece Agency for sponsoring the program and Brick Road Coffee. I definitely want to say that. The Fleece Agency is an amazing marketing and branding company. If you need it done right, if you need it done professionally, they're the ones to go to. fleeceagency.com. And Brick Road Coffee. If you're ever here in Tempe, I'll take you to the coffee shop. Okay, so that's for Abby.
Doreen's up next.
Hey, Doreen.
Yeah.
Okay, so Doreen and Tony with the Fleece Agency are, I'll let you know within the next few weeks when their podcast. Doreen is an award-winning chef, and I'll let you know when the podcast, because I definitely want us all to be on it. It's so much fun. Okay, Doreen. Some people get lost in, if I was just more spiritual, if I maybe just opened up my own metaphysical bookstore, or I started my own church, or no. This is bringing the spiritual into the physical, no matter what it is you do. So during the day, I work for a university. That's a perfect spot for me right now, where I can bring the spiritual into what we call this middle world. Okay? This planet Earth is called the middle world. So you have an opportunity to bring this spirituality into what it is that you do. Now, I've talked to you maybe about this before, but the masters in India and Bhutan, the monks, the priests, the holy people, they are very, very careful about who cooks their food. Because this food is energetically affected by the one preparing it. And so as you're preparing the food, even if it's for your show, people will sense the energy from it. These foods are masterpieces. They're energetic masterpieces. And even if people see the food, they'll be blessed. And so these masters of India only have these chefs, these people that prepare the food, that bless the food. And it even doesn't matter what it is, but just being in the presence of the food, let alone eating it, is very powerful. And that's why I love that feedback you gave us a week ago, or when I saw you making sauces, and actually you thought about that a few years ago, about making your own sauces, but blessing them. Because you're doing more than just sauce, or you're doing more than just food. There's an energy behind it. And that's what's important to realize about any work that we're doing. Whether we work at a secular job, Abby, your wreaths are amazing. Marilyn, you work with the wreaths too. You put those blessings in it, and people feel it. People actually feel it. And what a blessing to be able to hang that on your front door, so that people coming to that door are blessed instantly. So whatever it is that we do, bless it. Okay.
Nice. Austin's next.
Okay, Austin. Austin. This is the number 1 card in this deck. So there's some connection here, Austin. You can do some research on Lemuria. I'll show you these. I bought these. These are called Lemurian crystals. And they're very unusual crystals. They don't grow in clusters. They were discovered around the 1980s. And what's unusual about them is they grow individually. So they find them in caves in the soil, and there's no really other crystals attached to them. They're one of a kind. And what's unusual is they have these ridges on them. And the ridges, you're to run your finger or thumb up the ridges, and they are to have come from the Lemurian continent, or the Lemurian survivors who then went around the world and planted these crystal seeds. Anyway, it's an ancient knowledge. This is about the ancient ones. There are people now on this planet that are getting downloads. So every one of you on the show, I will guarantee, are getting your own downloads. And these are like pieces of the puzzle. And there's a reason, like with this star family, that group card that I pulled for all of us together, is creating this star family where this knowledge then is beginning to become solidified and then to help evolve mankind. But there's something about these Lemurian crystals. They're not cheap, but it's something I wanted to share with all of you. To be able even to see one is an extreme blessing. So this knowledge, the ancient knowledge, especially of this love and kindness and the evolution of mankind, is very important for you. But I would definitely do some research on Lemuria. It may be your connection to Hawaii, because it said that was part of Lemuria at one time. And just this remembering, allow that remembering to come up, and be free of, Austin, attributing it to your imagination. It's not your imagination. There's some remembering there. Okay.
Awesome. Next is Geo and Cat.
Geo and Cat. Hey, Jared. Hey, Cat. Thanks for being here. Okay, so Kat, we've talked about this before. If there are spirits around you, you tell them, what are you still doing here? You've not progressed. Move on. Go to your progression now. Leave and never come back. But this is also inviting in those guides and those spirits. So it's a little bit what I was talking to Marilyn about. And are you willing to let go of any programming from your immediate family about how things should be? Because when you let go of the old programming and you're willing to open up to letting go of that old programming, then the new knowledge, the new way of being can come in a lot more easily and it be less rough. And so that's maybe what you've been experiencing a little bit, where when it gets a little rough, is this is the constructs or the programming from your family. It can come from family, religion, politics, how we were raised, the school systems, the educational systems, and just be willing to let go. I'm not saying to let go of everything all at one time, but as you let go of a piece or an energy, a new energy can come in. And are you willing to allow that, Kat? And that it's not okay. it's not okay. It's not good for you. It's not good for Jared. If it's not good for the kids, for any of this old energy to be hanging around. So this one couple weren't willing to let go of their furniture. I told about at the start of the program. They weren't willing to let go of their furniture. And of course, he continues to have or be susceptible to different kinds of cancer. It's being willing to let go of something even though it's precious. So, oh my God. So this is like the Lord of the Rings. And the ring, the precious ring, it was actually imbued with this negative energy. And when people went to go to destroy it or get rid of it, they couldn't. So that could be the energy on some things that listen, when my mom passed away, I realized she was letting go of her job, her career, her money, her family, her possessions, her animals, everything. She was moving on. We can't take it with us. And so if there's a pull or a doubt of you letting go of something, you might really want to let go, because it's not that, it's what's on that thing or that relationship. Okay. And then Jared, right?
Yep, you and Kathleen.
Okay, Jared, this is the number 9 card. It's 27. 27 added together is 9. It's the ending. It's ending old way of doing things, old way of thinking. Are you willing to let go of any resistance about letting go of an old way of thinking, or are you willing to let go of how things have to be or how things should be? Pay attention to the signs. You are the hunter. And a hunter pays attention to the tracks of the Wascawee Wabbit, okay? It's Elmer Fudd, right? And you remember those cartoons? And it's going where the tracks are and following the tracks. No matter how far down the rabbit hole it seems to be, there are things that lead you. Like, I know when you came here, when I saw you 2-3 weeks ago, that you ended up at randomly walked into this other doctor's office that was teaching the same thing you were thinking about doing. Those are signs. Those are the tracks that you want to continue to follow and give you encouragement. And if you've lost the tracks, just stop. Wait. Use your third eye. Use your senses. You are the hunter. You will pick up the track again. Okay.
Thanks, it's French Willie.
Hey, French Willie. Are you willing to let go of fear around your ability? Fear of the power of it, fear of what other people will think of it. This is like your sixth sense that can maneuver through like an owl. Pitch black, absolutely pitch black. But they can move her through a very thick forest and go right for their prey. They're silent and they're deadly. Are you willing to let go of the need to be nice? You can be kind, but part of being kind is to stop the manipulation, because that is not being compassionate to yourself. First and foremost, be kind to yourself, be compassionate to yourself, and any form of outside manipulation where people are trying to manipulate you into being a certain way or doing a certain thing that is against who your true nature is or what your true nature is, you have every right to be unkind. To, in matter of fact, go no. And I know what you know what I'm talking about. Okay.
Very good. Next, it's Richard and Aaliyah.
Hey, Richard. Aaliyah. Thanks for being here. So, Aaliyah, I'd highly recommend you start memorizing poetry. There's some great works by Hafiz, Hafiz, Khalil Gibran. I would highly recommend you, just like you memorize lines for a play, there are, I highly recommend memorizing very uplifting poems, very like two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and be one traveler, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth, and then took the other just as fair. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. And that has made all the difference. And I memorized that, I don't know, 50 years ago. And I can still say it. It's still very profound. There's something very profound, Aaliyah, about you memorizing poetry. It will, number one, get you out of your own head and focus on the memorizing of the lines, just like you do your play. It will help you tremendously. And Richard, you are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You too have a right to be here. Look that one up, Richard. That's a poem. This is the child. You are a child of the universe. Claim your inheritance now. Release all curses about what you've done in the past and what's happening now, or thinking that you deserve it. Are you willing to let go of that right now? This is the child. This is getting back to when you were a child, and a child doesn't worry about what it's going to do the next day or what it's going to have for dinner. It's not worried about school the next day or the job it's going to do. It just is a child. And call in your inheritance now. Okay, this is your God-given right to be who you are, and to call it in, and to call in these gifts, and to be free of the fear of having this money in this position and it leading you down a dark road again in any way, shape, or form. Okay.
Very good. So we've got a couple people. Marilyn is on YouTube. She said she was just observing, but
Marilyn,
yeah.
I'm going to pull a card for you. Is that okay? The other Marilyn on YouTube.
Right, New Marilyn.
It's a new Marilyn.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. All right, my dear. Absolutely. You're part of the group. I love having you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Stand still. meditation is really great. So I have these malas, or what Catholics would call rosaries. They're beads, right? And they're meditative beads. It's where you hold one, say a phrase, move on to the next one, say another phrase, say another phrase, say another phrase, say another phrase. So, Marilyn, I'm going to give you a saying. It is Om Namah Shivaya. And Kenan will type that in the chat. Om Namah Shivaya. 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 And a loose translation of that is, I serve all there is, and all there is that serves me. And how does that make you feel? Like, I serve all there is. But the universe isn't just one way. There are no one-way signs on the universe. It's not how it works. It's being willing to serve and be served. So Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. That is a great meditative tool that, because a lot of people think, well, meditation is, sitting in the lotus position with your legs crossed and thumb and middle finger, and you're just Om, Om, and you're not thinking about anything, but rather do the mantra, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, and this will help your mind to stand still. One of your gifts is you've got a great antenna. You pick up on things, but they're radio stations that you don't even like the music to. And I'm speaking metaphorically. You're picking up on other people's thoughts that are not your thoughts. So the Om Namah Shivaya will help you get more centered and aware of the radio station you actually want to turn into, which is you with Source. Okay.
Very good. So, a couple people on Facebook tuning in, but I think we've got here for you. Okay, Naomi and Karen, Naomi Webster and Karen Hill.
Okay. Hey, Naomi. Nice to have you on the show. That's awesome. Okay. So, Naomi, I would highly recommend doing some research on the geometric symbology of the spiral. So many of your paintings are geometric in design. And there's something with the spiral so everyone on the show, Naomi, can you type your website in? Naomi's art is very integrative with the brain, and there's something to do with spirals, Naomi, with your art. One of the things that we talked about, I went to this seminar this last weekend with this neuroscientist, and he was talking about, if you just win a contest, right, and you're just all pumped up and you're excited, if somebody says to you, great job, it's like kind of water off the duck's back. You're like, oh, thanks. But if you're spiraling down and you're at the bottom and you're feeling really depressed or blue, and somebody says, great job, you know what, it's going to be okay, I love you, that has a great impact on relighting up the brain. We talked about this on the show the other night, is that it's called what part of the brain? Not the default. Is it the default? The default mode network. So we think 95% of our brain every day we're on the default network. We get things done. We drive to work. We cook the meals. We just do everything. That's the default network. But when we're depressed or angry or sad, it shuts down most of the brain, and we're on fight or flight, and we're in what we call, the neuroscientists call the red zone, where any higher level thinking is shut down. Your artwork, and I'm talking to Lindsay, I'm talking to Marilyn and Abby, I'm talking to anyone that does anything with encouraging other people with their work or their words, any of you on the show. When you say something encouraging to people, it literally relights up their brain. And that's what your artwork does, but there's something really powerful with the spiral. Okay. And then Karen Hill. So Karen, this is the Crow card. So I want to say there's that famous book. It was called Yes, Virginia, There is a Santa Claus. Okay. I don't know if you remember that book. Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. Yes, Karen, there are aliens. Yes, Karen, there are spirits. Yes, Karen, there are angels. Yes, Karen, there are gnomes. Yes, Karen, there are fairies. And be free of the need to prove it. These are messages. The crow is a symbol of the messages from the other realms, not just one realm. And show me now, universe, realms, show me now how to benefit myself and others. Benefit myself first, because you are the fulcrum. You are the center point, right? Your breath matters. Every breath you take, breathe in 10 to the 22nd power. Every breath out, 10 to the 22nd power of atoms. You matter. Your atoms matter. You're part of all there is. So when it starts with you, and these messages start with you, trust them. Trust your gut. There many times are not any clear-cut answers. And so trust that. This is trusting your gut. Okay, and then?
That's everybody.
That's everybody.
Yeah.
Wow, we did great tonight. How do you all feel? I hope you feel great. Many, many blessings. We will watch Facebook, watch for my posts on Facebook. The plan is Sunday at 6 Pacific Standard Time, Monday and Wednesday. And we're going to do our best to fit in a special program as well. So thank you all greatly for being here. Great, great blessings. And we'll see you soon. Have a great night.